Hey, you wouldn't believe this. The episode that I just interviewed Cleoni on, only 26 minutes out of a whole hour. I've already have 14 life lessons. Okay. That is crazy. You definitely want to listen to this episode because Cleoni talked about mental illness that she has and the journey she went through. In fact, I even challenge you to go listen to that episode. It's the one before this one, and you find a life lesson that I didn't even mention because I'm going to talk about 14. All right. Put it in the comment section below and you tell me a life lesson I didn't even mention. All right. You ready for the challenge? All right. Let's do this. Hey, friend, do you want to be fulfilled and satisfied in your life? Are you tired of your work that gives you no passion and no purpose? Do you desire to have more positive influence and impact to help others? Hi, I'm Angeline Edwards. I'm a poet, author, speaker, podcaster, and your purpose and courage coach. I want to help clarify your calling and turn your pain into purpose. How do I do all this and be a sane mom with God in the center of it all? I pray this episode will bless, inspire, encourage, and empower you. So join me now, will you? Come on, tune in. Okay, so the first lesson out of the 26 minutes now, it's not even half of the hour video. The first lesson is her epileptic seizures started at a young age. And we learn from that is that life can throw you hard balls and many hard balls, but it doesn't matter what age it happens. It could even happen when you're born. You could be born with a defect. You don't know when life could turn dramatically because from 12 years old, her life made a dramatic change. And we got to learn how to navigate when life throws you a hardball and changes the trajectory of your life. What about you getting into an accident that now cripples you for the rest of your life? These are serious hardballs of life that totally changes the direction. And she had to learn how to navigate that hard turn in her life. And that is a serious thing, to learn to do that and still come out joyful in the end. It's a process, but you learn how to, and now she's happy. She's happy. All right. Lesson number 2 is that you got to learn to take care of your health. You got to learn to maintain your health. In fact, I was just talking to a friend this morning. She's in the hospital, okay? Not maintaining her health. So she mentioned 2 things that helped lower her seizures. And one was getting enough sleep. How important is that? Just think about it. Not getting enough sleep caused her to get seizures. I had no clue. I really never knew. Okay. And then, of course, the other one, which is kind of obvious, which was lowering her stress, not getting so stressed, anxiety, worry, things like that. That really worried her stress. So she had to lower her stress, increase her sleep, so that she can have optimum health. Okay, so that was lesson number 2. And then I would say lesson number 3 was the book that she mentioned that she wrote, which is called Music of My Life. And by the way, I wrote a book too, and it's for similar reasons. and I'll put both links below so you can see them. But she told her testimony, right? She shared her story, and it's powerful. I'm telling you, 2 chapters, I was hooked. I was like I was blown away. And so many people can relate and be empowered by her story. And you don't even have to have the illness that she has. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. You got to go listen to the episode. It's just before this one. Okay? And listen to the story and you will be moved by it. So writing your story and sharing and telling your story is powerful. It's healing to yourself, and it's healing to other people, because they're going to have revelations that they didn't know. They're going to learn something that they needed to learn. So write your story. All right. Number 4 is family is not always loving and is not always the best influence for you. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean the whole family. In her case, it was one particular person in the family well, technically 2, but one main one, which is what caused her to do something. But again, listen to the story, listen to the testimony. The family is not always, or maybe one person in the family is not always your best interest, not always loving, not all. And that's a sad reality. Like, let's get real with that. It's a sad reality to grow up in a family and somebody in your family does not have your best interest, and their blood, it's blood related. That's just really sad that there's people out there that maybe even be afraid of their family or somebody, at least just one person. All it takes is one person, right? And so we got to look for people that will love us and accept us and have our best interest. Find those people, pray for those people. Okay. That's number 4. Number 5 life lesson I've learned through this epic interview is affirmations are so important. Affirmations are so important. As a Christian, scripture affirmations are so important. But you must know your love language for yourself. And there's 5 main ones. Which one is your priority? And then your second affirmation. So know your love language and the family that you're in. What is their love language? Right? Your parents' love language, or if you're married, your spouse love language, your children love language. Like, know them so that you could adjust to them and they could adjust to you. That is so important, because your cup is getting filled when you're using the right love language for them and for you. And that could actually break up relationships. So simple. She wants affirmations, right? And he wants quality time, or vice versa. Maybe she wants quality time, because a lot of women do, and he wants to be affirmed, but she's not affirming him and he's not giving her quality time. Like, and then the relationship ended just for lack of knowledge. All right. Number 6, it has to do with suicide, because there was a time she wanted to go down that path. And what I wrote about suicide, it usually starts with depression and not able to solve your problem, and you don't see a way out, and you're just so overwhelmed, and you really internalize it. So this becomes an agony for you. so much so that you just end it. Like it's not even, you're not thinking about the people around you, especially if you have a family. You're not thinking about the family, how they're going to be devastated when you're gone. And you're not thinking of, maybe I should do coaching or maybe I should, tell somebody and they can help. Like, you're not even looking for help. It's so internal. It's all about what I can do or what I can't do. And because I can't do it, I'm just going to end it. Well, there's how many billions of people on this planet? You mean to tell me you can't find one person to tell your problem, to talk to help solve your problem? Right? In the Bible, it talks about many advisors. It's wise. It's a wise thing, right, to do that. And especially if they're wise advisors too, godly ones even. So get your problems out. And if there's no one to talk to, which we really should be talking to God first, is definitely go to him. Give your problems. He says, cast your care upon me, right? Cast your care. Pray to him and say, God, help me out of it. Help me solve my problem. Give me wisdom so I know what to do, like all these things, right? Leave it to him, let him handle it, and then let him show you what part you have to play. And maybe the right person he's going to put in your path to give you that information that you need to help you solve this problem. There's no need for suicide at all. Absolutely. There's no problem too deep that God cannot solve and that somebody else has not already been through or understand it or anything. You got to go to someone and get help. Go to God, go to someone. All right. Number 7 is understand the symptoms of mental illness. Be aware of it. Don't be ignorant of it. Now, for her at age 12, it was, obviously she didn't know about it. And her parents probably, were like clueless, especially if this is a long time ago. But now we're living in an age where it is prevalent. Okay. So everybody, they should be teaching this in school, by the way. And if not, teach it at home. So learn about mental illness, different symptoms, different bipolar, autism, whatever. Learn about all these things. Just read about it. Watch a documentary of it. Whatever. Do what it takes to learn, right? And also learn what triggers it. Because learning what triggers it is probably the most important thing, because you don't want to trigger it. Because I know for sure trauma can trigger. It can just send people spiraling down. The trauma, the crisis, and it just all of a sudden their brain just switches, you know? And so we really got to guard our minds, guard our hearts, and release, all the time. Every time before you go to bed, just release everything so you have no issues, right? And yes, some problems can't always be solved in 24 hours, but have peace when you go to bed. Just really make a big deal to have peace. And now, not everything can be solved, like I said, in a short period of time, and you may not have, a huge amount of peace, but have some peace. Just go into a quiet place. Go to God and say, God, give me peace. God, take away my anxiety, take away my worry, take away this, all this fear or whatever it is that's causing it. Just God, take it away. And he will. He will. That is his job, right? So remember, understand it and learn about it. All right. So now that was number 7. We're on number 8. And who you hang out with is important. Okay. Of course, you heard this phrase, birds of a feather flock together. Well, yeah, because the people that you hang out with has a major impact on your life, whether it's positive or negative. And it could actually change the trajectory of your life if you hang out with the wrong people, foolish people. Okay. And if you're a Bible reader, Proverbs talks a lot about it, even Ecclesiastes. So have a good person to hang out with and at a young age. So important. So important. I was very, very cautious with my daughter of who she hung out with. I wanted to know everybody. There was one or two I had to give her a couple of words with. I was like, no, I don't think so. You know what I mean? And I would explain why, right? So it's very important that we understand who we're hanging out with, because they can change your life for bad and put you down a path that could take you years to fix or rectify and to get corrected. And some people never do. That's a sad reality. Okay, so that was number 8. We're on number 9. Sometimes the first career choice that you make is not going to be the last career choice you're going to end up with. In other words, some people, they have a career choice and that's what they're going to be for the rest of their life. They just love it. They struck it right. Some people, they choose a career choice, but years later, they're like, nah, I don't think I want to do this. Or sometimes it's even in the middle of 4 years of college, university. Like they decided to major in lawyer, and then 2 years later, they're like, I don't think I want to do lawyer. Like, you know what I mean? Like they just completely changed, wasted some money, yes. But it doesn't mean you're going to end up with this career all your life. You might do it for, let's say, 6, 7 years, and you're like, I'm tired of this, or this isn't what I panned out. And then you just change career. So understand that changes may happen in your career along the way. All right, let me give you another example on this. So we had a pandemic a couple years ago, and wow, a lot of people lost their jobs, right? Or their career just shut down. I know mine did. I know mine did. It was like, oops, overnight, done, gone, right? So I had to reinvent myself. I was like, okay, what do I do now? So we need to, right? So and to piggyback off that, number 2 would be have a backup. Not a backup career, but have a backup gift, have a backup skill, so that if one career didn't work out, you can fall into your skill or your hobby. And I'll give you an example. I know someone didn't her career kind of ended around that time, and she was a good cook, so she started doing cooking and started selling, and that's how she was able to survive during the pandemic. So we got to learn to just quickly move into the next gear, basically. All right. Okay, so we are on number 10. I believe that was number 9. And it is God moves in mysterious ways. Ways that sometimes don't make sense. But all good gifts come from God, because God is a God that gives good gifts. And we have to know when an opportunity came by, and you gotta snatch it up. You gotta take it by the reins, my friend, especially if you were praying about something and you're like, God, I really don't know what to do, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden something comes along, you're like, hey, right? Why don't I do this? Well, that's God's way of saying, hey, I just opened the door. Are you going to take it or not? I'm answering your prayer. So some of us, we really got to just keep our eyes open, be aware of how God is going to answer your prayer, or what opportunity he's going to put in your way that may be totally like left field. It's like, oh, I had no idea. Totally something you never thought of. It's not, you know what I mean? So it's not always what you had in mind. And so you got to be ready and be aware. All right. So we are on number 11. 11. Wow, we're getting there. We're almost at 14. And you got to listen to the episode to understand what I'm talking about. All right. So you can't give your advice without listening to Cleoni's interview. All right. So debts in family can be extremely difficult to manage. And for some people, grief is a hard and long process. Okay. Some people grieve for years. Some people, 6 months to 1 year, and they moved on with their life. They're back on track. Now, you never forget, of course, obviously, but they back on track. They just move along. They just get busy. They just, they may cry at night, but they wake up and they plow through it. They get through it, and they they try to get themselves into a happy place. Yes, you have to grieve, and please do, because by not grieving properly and submerging and suppressing the grief and hiding it, will come out in different ways, and ways you may not like, and may even come out physically with some kind of illness. So you do want to grieve, acknowledge, grieve, cry, get it all out. And if you need counseling or therapy, please, please, please take it. It's worth it. It really is worth the money to get the counseling, to get the therapy, and to just release that. Okay. It will actually be healing for you. All right. So that's about extremes and griefs. Now we are on to 12. We're getting there. All right. So 12 is about notice patterns in your life, whether it's a positive pattern or a negative pattern, to see if there is a cycle going on in your life that needs to be addressed, that needs to be broken, or that needs to be celebrated, right? So if it's positive, then you're like, hey, and you celebrate it, and you're like, this is a good pattern that's happening in my life. But there's a lot of patterns that are not positive, they're negative, and you're like, hey, every time I do this, this happens. Why? Or every time this happens, it's because of I'm trying to, and so you got to understand the enemy, right? So if you're trying to start a business and this is your third time trying to start a business, that's a pattern, right? And it could be a cycle. So we need to look at that. And I know in my life, there was a cycle, a pattern that I was so frustrated. I think after about 3-4 times of asking God, why is this not working? This is like my third, fourth time, and this was over a series of years. I just broke down. I was like, God, what's going on? And God had to let me know, every time this happens, every time you do this, the enemy does that. And it was the same thing every time. And I was just so ignorant and I was like, yeah, you're right. After you think about it, you're like, yeah, you're right. Every time I do this, he does that. So you really gotta notice. And once you notice, now you're aware. And once you're aware, you can do something about it. And then you can break the pattern. And that's the key thing, okay, is awareness. All right, so we're on number 13. And we got one more after this. So 13 is about denial. Denial is not desired, okay? It is not a desired trait. Let's not be in denial over anything and everything, all right? you gained 25 pounds and you're still gaining. Now you've gained 50 pounds and you're still, let's not be in denial. Let's stop buying extra large clothes or extra large clothes, right? And let's stop being in denial. Let's cut the cord and say, hey, this is enough. I'm not going past. Start weighing yourself. There was a time, I think it was during COVID, I weighed myself every single morning, right? And I did lose some weight. I did lose, unfortunately, I did gain some back actually, but because I stopped weighing myself. But I noticed when I weighed myself every day, that kept me straight. Now, that works for people who have a hard time losing weight, which was me. There are some people out there, they can eat a horse, a cow, a bull, a goat, a sheep, a lamb. They could eat anything and everything and they don't gain one lick a pound, not one lick. I can smell ice cream and my stomach's like, ooh, we just had a fill, like 2 pounds right there. Like it just, smell some cheese and my stomach's like, yep, that was good, and I hadn't even tasted it. I hadn't even put it in my mouth, but my body just reacted to it and I gained weight. So some people just gain weight so quickly, and some people, they could eat the whole street and it didn't budge. It didn't even go in their hair. So we need to not be in denial. Now, I was talking about weight, but in her situation, it was about her illness, her mental illness. She was in denial for a while, and it took a major issue to happen in her life for her to realize, you know what? I got to stop running from myself and accept that I have this problem. And once she did that, her life just started to get better. So there's no need to prove yourself, right? To prove yourself wrong, basically. If you need help, my friend. So don't be ashamed of getting help, because once you get help, life actually turns around for you. Okay. Doors start to opening, right? There's sympathy, there's compassion, there's love, right? And you actually start healing mentally, physically, emotionally, and all that. That all takes place, all because you're no longer in denial. And then people love you. People will accept you, right? It's okay. All right. Now, there are a few exceptions to this rule, but generally, denial is not desired. And of course, it depends on what it is. But in this situation, it is not a good thing. Okay, the last and not the least, and by the way, this isn't really, this is mostly in order according to the interview, but not in order according to preference. All right. So 14 is acceptance of who you are. This is who I am, right? Acceptance of who you are, acceptance of your illness, right? And find steps to get resolutions, to solve problems, to find ways of healing, or to find a cure, or maybe to adjust to a new normal. Acceptance of yourself, of your situation, of your body, of your mind, of whatever illness you have, just does make a lot of sense. Just learn to accept. Now, that doesn't mean there can't be changes. That does not mean that things cannot improve. Absolutely. You want improvement. You want changes. You want the best. You want to have complete wholeness, but you still got to accept where you are right now. Accept where you are right now and make steps to make improvement. All right, so those are my 14 takeaways. Now you go for it, my friend. You tell me, what did I not mention, or what takeaway that you got out of the short 26 interview with Cleoni Crawford. Listen to that. Come back and put it in the post below, or reply to me and say, hey, this is the lesson I learned. Now, this isn't a competition, so it's all good. I'm not offended. In fact, I implore you to do so. And also, I would like you to do that for every interview that I do. I just did another interview. I'm going to be posting that one. You got to listen to this lady who was a Catholic turned into a Christian, and her journey is phenomenal. I was blown away by it, and how literally she drank a potion that literally physically changed her and changed her life so dramatically that I was on my seat. I was like, wow, you got to listen to that. And then I will do life lessons on that as well. All right, check out my website, angelineinspiresyou.com, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye for now. Well, friend, hope you loved today's episode. I pray you learned something and it challenged you to think, to reflect, and I hope it empowered you to make a change. If blessed, just stop right now and share this episode with someone who needs this. This may be the exact message they are praying for. It would bless me if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Check out my online course to move your dream forward, and also download the free PDF of the month. Together, let's live a healthy, balanced life, serving with purpose. Until next episode, God bless.